Nervous? I was so nervous. It's not because I got a call from a company for my new job, the job I was trying to apply for months. From the moment I stepped foot inside in the building, an unsettling feelings of suffocation enveloped me. Was it normal to feel that way? Yeah, maybe because that's your first day. It was as if there's something more to it. I gathered my courage and made my way towards the receptionist desk. Good morning. You must be the new secretary, the receptionist said with a smile. Yes, that's right. How can I assist you? Can you tell me where's boss office is? It's my first day, so. Of course, Mr. June office is on the third floor. Just take the elevator to the third floor, turn left, and you will find it in the end of the hall. Thank you. She smiled to the receptionist back and made her way to the third floor. With each and every step, her anxiety was increasing. Ian finally stood in front of the large office door and knocked on it. A muffled voice came from inside, called out, "Come in." And finally, taking a deep breath, Ian stepped inside the office professionally to hide her nervousness. Good morning, Mr. June. I'm your secretary. Her last words were only audible to her when her eyes finally met with his face. She froze for a moment as the past memories came rushing through her, and she suddenly felt the urge to vomit. Jungkook looked up when he heard the familiar voice. Even after so many years, he didn't forget the voice of the person who completely shattered him years ago. He didn't expect her to cross his path ever again, but now she is standing in front of him. Yun stared at him, gulping the lump in her throat. His voice was so small, like he was trying to believe that he was not hallucinating or he is questioning her. She took a deep breath before speaking, so she won't stutter. Kang Yun, Mr. June. Jungkook snapped out of and looked away from her. He opened the file which was placed in front of him since yesterday, of her new secretary profile, yet he didn't want to open it, but now he thought he should have. Well, Miss Kang, I see you have been assigned as my secretary. I hope you are capable of handling the responsibilities that come with the job. He said, looking through her file. Yun sensed the change in his voice, which is cold and professional. Yes, I will fulfill my duties to the best of my abilities, she replied back, and Jungkook finally looked up at her with his cold gaze, which is making her uncomfortable for some reasons. I have meeting in an hour, so I need you to prepare the documents. Okay, I will. She bowed to him and immediately left the office while Jungkook just sat there staring at the ceiling. Yun hurriedly entered inside her office, her mind racing with a mix of emotion. Then Carter had shaken her to the core, dredging up painful memories she had tried to bury. As the time passed, Yun managed to gather herself and start doing her work. After 40 minutes, she read back to his office, even though she was not ready to face him again. Mr. June, the documents for your meeting are ready. Jungkook looked up from his desk, his gaze meeting Yun briefly before he turned his attention back to the computer. Place them on the conference table. I will review them before the meeting. Yun nodded her head, she feeling so suffocating under his gaze. She wanted to run away from there. The eyes which never made her uncomfortable and always made her feel love. But now it's just staring at her with no emotions. How she is going to spend her time here. And then he has to bump into me only to run the file. Man, are you even listening to me? Jimin said. When he saw Jungkook zone out, he snapped his finger in front of him. Huh? You are zoning out. Sorry, I got lost in my thoughts for a moment. Jimin sighed, slightly annoyed at Jungkook's lack of attention. He leaned back in his chair, looking at his friend. You seem a bit distracted today. Is everything okay? Jungkook sighed, rubbing his. How can he be okay when someone from the past he wanted to forget every time is now again came back? He don't know what he's feeling. He's having difficult time focusing on his work. From morning he couldn't focus on his meeting nor on his work. Yeah, everything is fine, Jimin. You know how is it all with work? Well, if you need to talk, you know I'm here for you, right? I know, thanks, you're a good friend. Of course I am. Who else keep you in check, Mr. CEO? Jimin grinned and Jungkook passed him a small smile. Yin was working in her cabin when she finally completed the file and made her way to his office. And now she's working here, she had to face him no matter what. When she knocked on his door, he glanced up to see her entering his office, holding a folder in her hands. She walked towards him, stood behind him, still maintaining the distance. She placed the file in front of him. I have completed the file you have assigned me, and I did some changes if you want to check. Read it for me. All of it? She asked, confused, and Jungkook looked up at his eyes, cold piercing through her. Is there any problem? No, not at all. Her answer was short as she looked away and grabbed the file. Then I would ask question and do as I say. You nodded and began to explain him every little detail, the things she changed, and it almost took an hour to explain. And Jungkook was working on his laptop. He didn't even look up at her once. She placed the file back as she completed and stood there, waiting for him to say something. But all he did was hum. And Jungkook glanced. As she was going to walk out of there, he stopped her. Did I tell you to leave? I thought I was done. Is there anything else you need? Gaze remained fixed on his laptop as he continued tapping, his tone indifferent. I didn't dismiss you yet. Stop until I finish. Yoon bit her lips, her frustration and disappointment bubbling inside her. But she didn't say anything and went to the sofa and sat down there. She don't know why he's making her stay here. She waited for him to finish his work, tapping her foot unconsciously. The sound of her tapping foot filled the room. Stop doing that. What? She asked, confused at his stern tone as he glared at her. You know I hate it when you tap your foot. Control yourself. His tone was harsh. She quickly stopped tapping her foot and lowered her gaze. Sorry, it won't happen again. Yoon sat on the edge of bed, her hands nervously fiddling in her lap, her foot tapping on the ground aggressively. Jungkook approached her and took a seat beside her. He gently reached out and held her hand. He hates when he sees her intention, and even if she don't tell her, her body starts reacting that way. Hey, look at me. It's going to be okay. You don't need to be hard on yourself. But what if I fail? It's my dream university. Don't let your doubt consume you. You are talented. I know you're gonna get selected, Yoon. Her body relaxed a little at his word and she leaned on her boyfriend's shoulder. Thank you, Jungkook. I don't know what I'd do without you. Jungkook pressed a soft kiss on the back of her hand. You will never have to find out. I'll always be by your side whenever you need me. Yoon looked at Jungkook, who is engrossed in his work, a sudden past memory making her suffocating on her place. She remembered when everything felt so innocent and carefree. They both were 17, their life filled with laughter and dreams. As she stared at him, she remembered his features were so soft, they looked full of innocence. But now he completely changed. His dark, dominating eyes, his sharp features making him look completely a different person. Jungkook closed his laptop and Yoon looked away immediately. But Jungkook was not fooled. He knew she was staring at him. Tomorrow we have a meeting with a special client. It won't be at the office. It will held outside. I'll text you the location when it's confirmed. Okay, but is it necessary for me to go? Jungkook raised his eyebrow at her while wearing the card. His jaw clenched. You do realize that you are my secretary, right? It is a part of your job to attend meeting. If you have an issue with fulfilling your duties, you are welcome to resign. I'm sorry if my question seems out of place. I'll be ready and present for the meeting tomorrow. Yoon said and stood up while Jungkook just simply walked out of his office. Jungkook sat patiently at the table in the restaurant. The place was peaceful, perfect for a meeting. He was waiting for Yoon to come, his eyes fixed on the entrance. When Yoon entered inside the restaurant, he quickly spotted Jungkook and made her way towards him. I'm sorry for you waiting, the traffic was worse. Jungkook simply looked at her. His gaze was unreadable as he watched Yoon removing her cord and placed her on the back of the chair. The table was set for four. Jungkook and Yoon occupied the one space while the other side for the client and their secretary. Let's get straight to the business. I hope you have prepared the necessary documents for the meeting. Yes, I have prepared everything as requested. The client profile, the agenda, and the presentation already. He said as they waited for the client, but 10 minutes passed There was no sign of them. They were sitting in complete awkward silence. Jungkook's phone rang and he walked out, not to disrupt the restaurant peace. Sat there. After a few minutes, Jungkook came back and looked at him with a questioning gaze. The client cancelled the meeting for today. He sat back down at the table, the anger evident on his face. He despised wasting his time. The fact that the other party had cancelled while they were already waiting only heightened his irritation. Are you sure it was client who cancelled and not your way of asking out here? She hoped for a comment would make mood little lighter, a smile or a teasing response, hoping to break the ice between them. Because since she joined his company, they only been professional. But her attempt backfired as she witnessed Jungkook's expression burden, his eyes narrowing. Miss Kang, do you think I have time for childish things? Or do you think highly of yourself that I would ask you out? His voice was cold and Yun just shrugged, pretending it didn't hurt her. Well, since the meeting is cancelled, we should go now. There's nothing else to do here. She spoke without looking at him. Her gaze fixed on her card as she did her forehead. Yun prepared to leave. The waiter approached the table with polite smile. Sir, ma'am, would you like to order something? No, we are going. Can you bring me the menu? The waiter nodded with a smile, bent to retrieve the menu. Alright then, Mr. Jun, I should head home. She stood up, ready to leave, but Jungkook stopped her in her tracks. Aren't you going to eat? No, I don't have time for this. She forced a smile, her disappointment evident, and made her way outside towards the exit. However, luck was not on her side, as heavy rain began pouring down as soon as she stepped inside. Oh, what a perfect day, she murmured sarcastically. As the rain started to drench her clothes, she immediately stood under the shelter of the restaurant. Will you stood there until the rain stopped? I don't have any option. At least come inside and then wait for it to stop. Inside, and they both went inside. After a few minutes, they both placed the food on the table. The table was filled with silence. So, how are you, Yun? Good. How about you, Jungkook? What do you expect? He asked, staring in her eyes, and Yun gulped and looked away. It's been 5 years, Yun. Of course I'm happy living my best life. His voice filled with sarcasm. She played with her fork, her heart sinking at the realization that the wounds from past still didn't heal. It's good that you're happy, she said, trying to act dumb, and Jungkook spoke. He wanted to scream at her, scream that can't she see he's still the broken boy she left? Or she don't want to see that. Yes, you see, after you left me, I've become the happiest person alive. Yun's eyes blurred with tears, and she took a piece of fish. She didn't want to look up. I didn't want to face the hurt on his face. And she gulped it down painfully. Wait, Yun, you're allergic to fish. Before Jungkook could finish his sentence, his eyes widened in horror as Yun's fork slipped from her hands, crashing onto the table. Her teary eyes met his, and he knew in that moment what she had done. Jungkook reached out across the table, gripping her hand. Yun, why did you do that? You are allergic to fish. Her throat began to tighten as she struggled to breathe, and Jungkook picked her up, and his arms running out of the restaurant to his car. He carefully placed Yun in the passenger seat and quickly got behind the wheel, his foot pressing hard on the accelerator. The drive to the nearest hospital felt like an eternity while Yun was struggling to breathe beside him. Jungkook paced back and forth in the waiting area. His mind was consumed with guilt. He didn't want this to happen. Even he didn't want that dinner to be happen. It's all his fault. Why he didn't stop her from crying? We were able to stabilize her condition. She still experienced some difficulties, but it's okay. Thank you, doctor. Can I see her? The doctor nodded, guiding him to Yun's room. Jungkook entered. His gaze fell on Yun, who was sleeping peacefully as he sat beside her. I'm sorry, Yun. I should have been more careful. He observed her face. She is still red and inflamed from the allergic reaction, and took a deep breath. He brushed away a strand of hair from her face. Why did you come back, Yun? Why did after all these years? He looked at her slipping form, hoping to find answer in her peaceful state. Memories of their past flooded in his mind, reminding him of the love they once shared and the pain that followed their separation. I thought I have moved on, but being near you again, it's like the wounds never healed. He whispered, his gaze tracing every feature of her face. Her face looked more paler now, and she had lost weight. He remembered when she used to be healthy and a slightly chubby figure. She was beautiful back then. It's not like she's not beautiful now. He would be lying to himself. He said he don't miss her. Yoon walked into his office. As she entered, she noticed Jungkook engrossed in phone conversation. He glanced up at her briefly but continued speaking. Yoon stood there nervously biting her lips, unsure of what to do next. After the incidents, Jungkook had left the hospital at that time. He paid the hospital bill and even arranging driver for her to drop her home until she fully recovered. He given her 2 days to leave, leaving her wondering if even after all these years he still cared about her. He still remembered this small detail about her. What brought you here, Miss Kang? Jungkook asked as he ended the call, his attention to her now. I came to return the files you left at my desk. I thought you might need them at the upcoming meetings. She held out the files, avoiding eye contact. With Jungkook's gaze lingered on her for a moment, and if trying to see her true intentions, leave them on the table. His voice was cold and distant. She hoped that the recent incident would have softened his attitude towards her, but it seems like he was still keeping his distance. Alright, I'll do that. She placed the file on the table, his finger brushing against his briefly. Is there anything else? No, that was all. I'll get back to work now, she said awkwardly, but Jungkook just nodded and went back to his work. You stop at the door and glanced back to him. Jungkook? He looked up at her. Thank you, she said softly, and with those words she left the room, leaving Jungkook in his deep thoughts. Jimin, you know you are invited to the party too. Then who will take care of my office? I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't have any problem, but your mother don't seems to like me. Now who said that? She always see me as a rival to you. Jimin, it's not like that, you know my mom. Jimin sighed on the other line. The party is nice way to make up your mind. It's business party anyway, you can't taste that. Alright, I'll come to the party. Just tell your mom not to give me evil eye. Don't worry, I'll handle my mom. It will be fun. Trust me. Alright, I trust you. I'll mark it on my calendar now. Back to work for me. See you later, Jungkook. See you. Jungkook hung up the call. Jimin and Jungkook are best friends from high school. Even you know about him. Jungkook walked out of his office ready to leave. It's already late. His eyes fall on Yoon, who was working in her cabin. His eyebrow furrowed as he looked at his wristwatch. All the employee had left. What is she doing here still? What are you still doing here? I have some pending tasks that I wanted to finish before leaving. I didn't realize it was late. You can complete it tomorrow. For now, go home. Yes, she stood up from her seat collecting her things, and Jungkook waited for her to. She moved out. I can drop you off if you want. No, it's okay. You don't have to feel guilty about the accident anymore, Jungkook. It's not your fault. I ate that accidentally. You have to wait for the cab. Let me drop you off for today. He said, ignoring her, knowing she was right. He was worried about her. Yoon sighed and sat in the car as Jungkook started driving. Jungkook was driving silence, and Yoon shuffled something in her bag and placed the envelope inside the small box in his car. Jungkook followed his eyebrows and looked at Yoon. What is this? I received my salary today, so I want to return the expenses you paid at the hospital. Here's your money back. Her voice was low and she didn't look at him. Jungkook grip on the steering wheel tightened as he tried to process her words. It was never about the money. You don't have to repay me for something like that. It's not a big deal. Take the money back. For you, maybe it's not a big deal, but for me it is. I don't want to take money from my boss and labeled as a gold digger. Jungkook furrowed his eyebrow in confusion, unable to fully grasp her reasoning. Fear started to bubble within him. Is that what you think of me? That I see you as some kind of gold digger? After everything we have been through, you think I only care about this money? I did that because I care. He paused. Did you forget all the memories we had together? Was it that easy for you? You did, but I didn't. I didn't forget anything. Jungkook, It's okay, leave this topic. His voice carried hint of pain as he tried to push away the flood of emotions threatening to overwhelm him. Yun was in the process of gathering her files in her cabin when someone entered her cabin. She looked to see James, one of the Jungkook important colleague. What happened? It's a file that needs to be handed over to the boss. I'm a bit of a hurry, so I was wondering if you could give it to him. Sure, no problem. James smiled widely, pointing to her, and hurriedly left the office. Yun picked up the file. She was already going to the office anyway to give him his schedule. Yun knocked on the door at entrance, eyebrows furrowed when she didn't saw Jungkook anywhere, but there was a girl sitting there. She turned around and smiled to Yun. She was pretty, and from her appearance she looked rich too. Ma'am, how may I help you? She asked, furrowing her eyebrows, wondering who had let this woman into the office. Oh, you must be Jungkook's new secretary. Yes, I am. Who are you? I'm Dia.